Good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to this Team Ireland versus Team Turkey show match. I'm Big Hungry Phil. Joining me on the other side of the desk is Dividing by Zero. Dividing,
hello.
Welcome to the broadcast. Now you've had a chance to look at the players in the list. Anything we should have our eye drawn towards?
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on this Team Ireland show match broadcast. It's a really exciting time here in the Overwatch World Cup community. Over the last weeks, it seems like almost every World Cup team has been announcing their roster all at the same time, and it's been really awesome to celebrate the achievements of the teams that are going to be competing in the next couple of months. As far as what to keep an eye out for, if you're tuning in here having no idea what to expect from either of these squads, keep an eye on, there are a couple players on Team Turkey that are particularly noteworthy. You do have Lethal from the London Spitfire on this squad. I believe the only active Overwatch League level player on either of these teams. I'm also very familiar with Romani, who has been doing a lot of awesome work on Team UC Irvine, and Collegiate is very well known for his Roadhog. So if Turkey want to run some Roadhog compositions, this would be the best place to do it. But of course, we are here for Team Ireland, and we do have a pretty solid squad. Really excited to see what this squad of young players has to bring. Pure Irish is the only player on this team that was also on the 2019 roster. Other than that, it is all new, all young talent, and I can't wait to see what they bring.
Yeah, it's one of the nice things when you're looking for silver linings of the fact that it's been 4 years since the last Overwatch World Cup. There's really only one, and it's that in that time we've had an influx of new and hungry players ready to take on this opportunity. You're right to highlight Pure Irish here. Obviously, they were on the 2019 World Cup roster, but Pure Irish and Ilusus at the tank line here for Ireland have been competing in Tier 2 and Tier 3 on and off for a number of years now across a bunch of different rosters. So that's the kind of veterancy that you want in the lead position in a team like this. So Ireland should be in a pretty good position with those two rounding out the roster.
Yeah, really excited. Pure Irish, Nut, and GCB also played together a couple of months ago on the European Invitational. There was a team there called Team from Ireland, which is fairly self-explanatory. I think a couple of players on this squad ended up on the actual Overwatch World Cup team. So there is a level of familiarity there of players that have played together before, especially when it comes to that support line. Nut and GCB are going to be very familiar with each other and how they play. And in this kind of organizational phase of the World Cup where everyone's like just trying to get the teams together and work together well, that can be incredibly valuable.
It really can. And as we've got this map set currently on screen, let's have a talk about the format for today. First and foremost, no marbles on the table here for this one. There's nothing at the far end of this one. It's a show match. Both of these newly formed Overwatch World Cup teams simply want to show us what they've got in the tank. Starting off on a control center, on a control point, and that's going to be the newest of the control maps, Antarctic Peninsula. And over the course of today, first to 3 will be the winner.
Absolutely. Just making sure a little bit. We can kind of think of it as like a somewhat more official scrim. It's not quite a scrim because we are doing a first to 3 match, and there are, of course, bragging rights on the table. But at the end of the day, I think it's a lot about just showing what we have to offer in these early stages of the World Cup and making sure that we are making sure that we've got, we did have a P in chat, so we should be getting a quick pause here. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so it's all about bragging rights and just trying to... Oh no, my camera died.
Oh no, the light went off in the dividing cave.
The dividing cave is gone. What the heck?
Unfortunate stuff.
Ooh. Not only is there lag, but my camera crashed.
Yeah, Burke is lagging so hard that it affected Dividing's camera all the way on the other side of the world. Worth noting, you will have seen Burke was actually in the game at that point. Burke is the general manager for Team Turkey and is subbing in today to give them a full roster. A couple of other people with extant commitments that they had to honor, so they couldn't be in the show match today.
By the way, a shout out to Burke. Where is the echo coming from?
Oh, I don't know. It's a great start, I think.
Oh my god.
No, here's what it is. We are getting all of the tech issues out of the way right now, so that the rest of the stream is going to go incredibly smoothly.
I pressed the wrong button on the thing to mute myself. I didn't actually. Okay. Fine. What I was going to say was, speaking of Burke, shout out to Burke. I was put in contact with Burke prior to this show match just to try and get a little more info about the players on Team Turkey, and Burke was very kind to me and was very willing to get some extra information on some of the lesser known players on Team Turkey. For example, here's a cool fun fact. One of their main supports, Farouk, and one of their flex DPS's, Atrak, years ago played together on a team called Team Revamp. They both mentioned that team as being their first real competitive Overwatch experience. Farouk mentioned that was the first time that he reached GM was on Team Revamp, and now they're back together again years later on Team Turkey.
Well, coming full circle to show us what they've learned in that time. I will say it's one of the more inspiring things about talking with pretty much anybody in the Overwatch World Cup community is certainly the GM and the coach position. Everybody wants to give you every bit of information they can about their players. Like, you can get social security numbers for players if you tell them it's about making a spotlight for their players. Like, they are so generous and so willing to give that information.
Oh my gosh, really my tab crashed again. What is going? Okay, well, you might just have to have the Dividing by Zero logo, because for some reason the room doesn't want to work for me.
That's unfortunate. It's okay. We will all remember your beautiful face and hold it in our hearts and minds whilst gazing at the dividing symbol instead.
Well, awesome. I sure hope that you can imagine the incredible emotions that I'm going through when looking at the crossed out 0 right there.
Yes, famed for your expression here. So we are still waiting on this pause getting... If you're wondering why we're just babbling at you and talking over our tech issues, we are waiting for an update. I've just been informed we should be heading into the map shortly. Hopefully this has been enough time for the severe lag issues to sort themselves out. Obviously, we want to show you the best show that we can here. We don't want kind of a one-sided tech issue kind of affair. And it looks like we are on our way in. And shout out to Kirik Ocean. That's Ocean, the GM of Team Ireland for the Irish Overwatch team for World Cup. Thank you for having us on today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us on today. Turkey is also running, by the way. So Turkey, I will say they're running Burke on flex support, so that's already a sub. Revenant on the main tank is also kind of a sub right now. It did mention specifically from Burke that this was their sub tank. Romani, like in the most of the games, will most likely be the starter, but this time around we're gonna see what Revenant has to offer, and I'm actually really excited to see because I know much less about this tank player.
Yeah, certainly a good chance to gather some data here on what we can expect from the sub here. And it's going to be two different types of brawl coming out. The Rush versus the Poor Man's Rush, as it was, meeting up on the high ground here on the first opening point of Antarctica. Nice wall comes in, separates two away from the rest of the team. Mighty Revenant actually caught out by the answering wall coming in from Sinix, but it's Castle Raya that's down first, not a lot long after this one. Alisu and Sinix find a couple of picks back here, and that's a crucial one. Finding the Reinhardt here really takes a lot of the sting out of the Team Turkey attack. And Lethal maybe overextends a little bit here, and it's going to be Alisu that finds the final two here. Ireland forced to give up a lot of space, but that's it. Turkey now no longer have the numbers to really keep themselves in this fight.
I mean, Neffy really tried his best to do it, though. That was 4 final blows for the Hanzo from Team Turkey, and because of that, actually, Revenant's back in this one, is contesting the point. Antarctica is, of course, well known to be kind of a brawly control map, so the Reinhardt is very, very good, but Elisu is getting very close to that annihilation. In fact, already has it available, and that could be an incredible zoning tool, and that's exactly what you're going to do it for.
Yeah, you've already burnt the utility of the immortality field here, and you can see just how effective that ultimate is as cleaning up that kind of team fight. We have really been going at this for a long time for an opening team fight, and it took something like Ilysiu's ultimate to clear that up.
It really shows, though, how good both these teams are and how sound their brawl fundamentals are. If a brawl team is really good, everyone's really great at peeling for each other. They're really great at sustaining into a fight for as long as possible. And that is exactly what we saw from both of these squads. Ult came up and came out before anything happened. But here is the Blizzard from Lethal. Unfortunately, gets taken down by Castle Ray before anything else happened.
Yeah, there was a nice dual Blizzard there on that one, as Xanax came out slightly later with theirs, and typically the last Blizzard is the one that wins out here. So Team Ireland, as they round the 33% mark, come out on top again.
Yeah, coming out on top, and now in this next fight, you do get rewarded for this couple of picks by Casaria having the Dragon Strike available. Unfortunately, though, GCB is a little bit off on that Blizzard, which means when the Shatter comes out and when the Dragon Strike comes out, the counter it is currently doesn't have any of that overhealth to deal with that.
Okay, Castleberry out first with the Dragon. Actually gets a few players in that. Forces some value out from Lethal here. Forced into the ice block. Won't have that for the remainder of the fight here. And in the confusion, Revenant's down as well here. They have equalized, but losing the tank is arguably the bigger pick here. Turkey, not out of this one just yet. Still finding frags in the fight, having taken Castleberry, and now not out of this one. So whilst we might be hitting 80% and kind of last fight territory here for Team Ireland, Turkey look to put themselves in a good position to close out this fight and gain control. Ireland hold on just that little bit longer, get themselves firmly in the region of needing one fight to win the map.
Notably, neither of the Lucios ended up using their beats in that last fight, which means that both teams have a really nice defensive tool if things get a little bit tricky, and Turkey's definitely going to need that, considering Ireland is already on one-fight territory. Keep an eye out for when those Lucios get pressured, when those health bars start to drop, because the first Lucio to use beat has their team at a significant disadvantage.
Big drop down, hammer on the head, but what a wall from Sinix. Lifts Ilysiu up above the follow-up damage from that. Wasn't enough to keep them alive all the way through it, and GCB actually commits the beat in that fight, whilst Turkey still hold on to both of their support ults. Crucially for Ireland, though, they do come back with the ultimate from the Ramashra.
They do have the ultimate from the Ramatra, but theoretically, Turkey should have the tools to deal with it. The beat from Farouk is going to be able to sustain, and then Burke is going to be able to just use that double damage from the Amplification Matrix to melt down Elisu. But maybe with 85% on the Blizzard from Synex, that might be the winning ultimate here for Team Ireland.
Yeah, that is a significant lead over Lethal, who used theirs fairly recently. Wall might slightly have frustrated the use of the Amplification Matrix from Nut on that one. And we've got a full commitment of utility, and Revenant and Neffy go down. It's going to cost them GCB, but again, you take out the tank, you take a big part of the team comp out of the conversation. Lethal comes alive here, finds Sue, Castle Raya and GCB both down. Ilysu's already committed the ultimate from the Ramatra as well here, so Silex throws in the Blizzard, hoping to make something happen here. Has at the very least caught Farouk inside that one, but in comes Revenant from the sidelines, charges in, opens up some space for Neffy to do the damage, and at 80%, Ireland throw everything at the fight, but it's Team Turkey that come out on top.
Notably, though, we do have a swap. Yeah, there was a flip over for Team Ireland, so now there is at least one more shot here for Team Ireland to get back into this one. It's going to be 85%. You have 15 seconds to get back into it. Unfortunately, with the stagger onto Castleria, it's not going to be much. You're going to have to, yeah, you're forced to swap up onto the Tracer to try and get back inside, but the Blizzard from Lethal...
And they pushed so far up on that one as well. They knew that the win con here was get in their way, stop them getting the point and getting it contested. They threw every bit of resource they had, the Blizzard, the Dragon at that to stop the contest coming through, and that's how they round out the fight. So 99 to 100 for Turkey.
Nicely done from Team Turkey. Starting off really kind of behind the 8-ball. They didn't get control of the point until Ireland had 80+ percentage points, but with some aggressive brawl gameplay, forcing Ireland to take fights in positions where they were not ready to take them, Team Turkey fight back on sub-level. Now, of course, we head over to Icebreaker, and I do think we're probably going to be seeing a lot more of the same when it comes to the comps. Notably, of course, we do have Elisu's going to stay on the Ramatra, and I do think Ramatra generally has a pretty solid matchup into Rhine if Remnant's going to keep running it, because those pommels can just melt players from Team Turkey through that Rhine shield.
I share the late day sentiment that Rhine versus Ramatra is one of the most pure skill matchups in the game, because it's a relatively even, in the 1v1, a relatively even showing between the two. So this is a really good view of the skill expression of both of these tanks and seeing out who comes out on top. But for now, it's a jockeying for position up on the high ground to the left of the point. A lot of damage the way of Neffy, and down they go. And a lot of that, I think, was Nut just peppering the damage with the alternate fire here on the back. So, big advantage now, and Ireland firmly stake their flag on the points. A little bit of danger there for Farouk, but they will skate back out of that one. Ilysu takes damage here from the Reinhardt of Revenant, but Revenant overextends, gets hidden by the wall, and that's done and dusted on this team fight.
Very nicely done from Synex, the BPL veteran, to be able to wall off the Reinhardt perfectly. Revenant had just no chance of surviving in that kind of situation. But GCB getting taken out late is potentially terrible for Ireland. Lucio will be back pretty fast, but regardless, Turkey will be able to take this fight 5v4 for at least a minute, and when that happens, Ireland won't have that speed boost to help them disengage.
Really cool interaction there. We just caught on our way through to the team fight of Neffy trying to rotate onto the far side here and find a pick with the Hanzo, but caught out by the Sonic Aura from Castle Raya. And Lethal finds the early Blizzard here. It's Sinex caught in it, and Neffy Executioner on that one, but Lethal finds themselves in line of fire of the Amplification Matrix. But Turkey doing a very good job here of playing around the pillars and getting out of the line of that direct damage. Revenant with the Shatter ready to go. Knows that there's a couple of targets here, would like to save that for the next fight if they can, wants to get this done on just the primary fire, but now they've got to deal with Ilysu with the Annihilation running here, and all the blocking in the world is not going to quite be enough here for Ilysu as the shadow comes through, and they find themselves thrown over the edge. Neffy gets the shot of the way through, but Ireland again refused to say die here. Whilst the tanks were jockeying on the back of the point, it's the supports and the DPS that really put paid to the fight.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great charge from Revenant to be able to get Eliseo off of the edge, but while that happened, it was basically a 4v4 on the point proper, and Team Ireland, thanks of course to a Blizzard from Synex, ended up getting a little more value than Lethal's, and that is going to give Ireland the 90+ percentage lead here. Desperation time for Team Turkey as Dueling Dragon Strikes on the point.
Yeah, Neffy with an acute angle on that one, but everyone was able to wend their way out of it. And in synchronicity, both Lucios commit their sound barriers into the fight. Cynex and Nut go down incredibly quickly, close to one another. And now we're looking at Turkey clearing this up in the final few seconds of the fight. Castlereagh is able to find Lethal, but up close and personal with Neffy can't quite make it happen. There's the team kill. Bell and Turkey get a stay of execution.
So once again, Team Turkey do get the point flip, but it is while they are once again behind the 8-ball here. It's going to take a perfect point defense in order to end this Antarctic Peninsula in 2 rounds. However, they do have the Shatter coming up from Revenant and the Amplification Matrix from Burke coming up in the next couple of seconds. So those are some really solid tools they'll be able to use, especially because Elisu doesn't have very many shields to speak of as the Ramantra.
Difficult position here for Nut with the Amplification Matrix, largely caught out by the pillars and by the wall from Lethal's May, stops that ultimate finding too much value, and whilst they're waiting for something to happen, Lethal and Neffy completely start to shut down Team Ireland. Down goes Elisu, Nut, and Cynex. A very quick team fight here for Turkey.
Yeah, that's exactly what you need to do. 1 ult, 1 fight win. All it took was the Amp Matrix from Burke, which means you get to keep the Shatter and the Blizzard as well. 2 really great ultimates for freezing up and knocking down your enemies, setting them up for that focus fire. And unfortunately, Ireland really doesn't have much support ults to speak of. GCB and Nut are both very far away. You gotta get up that last 15% to that Annihilation and the Blizzard to have a shot here.
Oh, wow. Okay, this might be go out very nicely now for Ireland. The Shadow comes through, but the wall stops the follow-up. And as the Blizzard comes through from Lethal, Ireland are able to use the GCB to get out of the way. And now, without the tank there on the side of Turkey, Ireland find themselves with a huge advantage as Cynex closes the gap and starts to flush resources out of Turkey. Burke frozen up and executed. Cynex closes this fight down with a frosty slamming of the refrigerator door. Ireland back in control of the point, and whilst we might have Revenant going for funny tank players on the back of the point, right now it is just Revenant, and it's a small consolation prize.
I am really impressed by the focus fire there from Ireland. Revenant got a couple of members of Turkey with the Shatter, but dying in the middle of the Shatter ends up throwing the entirety of the fight off for Turkey. Lethal is forced to just use the Blizzard immediately to try and buy time. It doesn't actually find anybody, it just zones them away for a minute, so all of a sudden all of the key ultimates that they had are already gone. So now as we head over to Labs, Turkey is making some pretty significant changes here. We're going to be seeing some Winston for the first time. Neffy is over on to the Sombra. Lethal, I would imagine, is probably going to swap over onto the Tracer after teleporting the Turkey team out of spawn. It's exactly what happened, so this is a very fast-paced comp from Turkey now. We're going to look for them to take early advantage in these fights with Neffy's hacks.
Yeah, they've picked up what is effectively the defensive position here, as if they'd already won the point. Ireland looked to make a rotation around the top here, and it seems like that jump from Revenant didn't connect the way it was meant to, and without the tank there to offer shielding to the rest of Turkey, the rotation from Ireland comes up big time and allows them to get kill upon kill upon kill here and get an easy first team fight win.
Yeah, I mean, Revenant's jump just didn't end up gaining the attention that Team Turkey were hoping it would, and because of that, Ireland were basically just able to walk at Burke, take out the Ana from the fight, and that's like 80% of your healing, so there's absolutely no way that Turkey's going to be able to win that one. So a very quick first fight for Team Ireland. They take first point control for the 3rd time out of 3 submaps here on Antarctic Peninsula.
Close to so far, and not a guarantee of a win here. Still have to hold on to that for another 80%. There's the dive into the backline by Revenant, but the anti hits him in a big way, and that is it. Castlereagh is able to focus them down, and Turkey, they know where their bread's buttered. They start to back out again.
Yeah, Revenant is really struggling so far on this Winston to just stay alive and get positioned well. I mean, where credit's due to Nut for getting a really solid anti-nade on the Winston after it already jumped in, so you knew you didn't really have a very good escape tool. But now with Neffy and Lethal almost up to their ultimates, this could be the chance that Turkey needs.
This is rough for Revenant, because again, it is a fat anti that shuts them down. Does eventually cost Nut their lives, and whilst it might not have survived the fight for Revenant, it does mean that the confusion they caused was able to allow the rest of Turkey to close the distance, find the kills, and start to secure the flip. Cynex not long for the fight, and here, finally, is the flip for Turkey.
All right, so this is technically the earliest that they've gotten first point control, 65% for Ireland before it flips over to the Turks. And actually, Neffy is going to be able to hold on to the EMP for this next fight, which could be massive, especially if you catch GCB in it. And then once that happens, Burke can go ahead and nano up Revenant and do massive damage.
Yeah, this is an easy team fight win for them here, but Ireland have already set fire to the fight with their own ultimates here. It's the nano boost onto ILC for now, who does now have their own ultimate throughout this one, and there it is already. Very low HP for Revenant, forced to pop the Primal Rage, but there is still a huge amount of damage going their way. But what they've done is use this to diffuse themselves from the fight, stop ILC getting in with the Rampage and finding picks here. Cynics dies in the confusion, and Ireland find themselves in the 4v5. But again, Revenant overcommits to the fight. Burke goes down here as well, and that's going to allow Ireland to sweep back in and put themselves very close to last fight territory.
And that one-shot potential from Castlereagh ends up coming up huge. That's two quick final blows from the Hanzo from Ireland. Now with 80% and counting, this is probably last fight territory for Ireland, and you've got an all-important Blizzard coming up from Cynics. Farouk is ready with the beat, however. Is the focus fire going to be enough?
Unfortunately, that rotation from Turkey a little too well telegraphed, and it cost Revenant their life. Neffy has been able to find two here, and with that trade, Turkey now have a window onto the fight, particularly as Neffy secures the hap onto ILC, momentarily stops the utility coming through, but it's 99 to 43, and Turkey need to wrap this up ASAP. As JCB gets the better of their opposite number, Turkey still just managed to hold on to this fight and will secure the flip again.
So we stay alive here. Round 3 of Antarctic Peninsula, and Turkey just hanging on by the skin of their teeth. However, this flip was massive. All it really took was the Primal Rage and the beat to try and sort of stagger out the fight, buy time for Turkey, and now Neffy is up to the EMP again. You have a Pulse Bomb, you have a Nano, you're looking really solid.
Again, Neffy not quite at the staging point, and lethal with the double. One with the pulse, one with the pistols. Castlereagh and Nut down, and the chase is on. Turkey know that they need to make as much space as they can here, and they push Ireland back.
Yeah, now 75% and counting. This is now 100% last fight territory for both teams. And honestly, while Neffy was able to hang on to the EMP, look at Ireland. The farthest ult they have is 80%, potentially a full row if they can live through this EMP.
I actually think that's really crucial timing here from Neffy. By having that come in a little late, Cynix's Blizzard wasn't affected by the EMP, and it meant they could get that ultimate off and start to throw more resources at the fight. They've taken Revenant out, and the flip has come through for Ireland, and they've got the contest stopper. They've got ILCEU's ultimate from the Ramatra here that will stop any contest. They find the kills they need. Just a last-second contest from Lethal as they tag back in. It's going to allow Revenant to touch the point, but it's a 1v5. It's just not going to happen for them. So at 99 to 96, close across all 3 rounds, it's Team Ireland with the first map of the series.
An incredibly close first match, if that has anything to say for the rest of this series. This is going to be quite the show match here, Phil. But I gotta say, I like the fact that Turkey went for the Winston-based composition on round 3, just because it's trying new things and trying to make sure you have more than one comp in your arsenal. But man, it did feel like they kind of struggled on the timing a little bit. There was a lot of Revenant jumping in, getting hacked, or getting anti-nated, and then getting taken out immediately. When Turkey was able to win fights, it was usually based on the achievements of the DPS and maybe not as much the timing of the dives. It was just Lethal getting into the back and killing too.
I think the other consideration, particularly for labs, is whilst there is technically high ground, it's high ground that you can by and large get to just by walking. And so like the Winston strength here is controlling high ground, controlling those sight lines by maintaining that position. The value isn't really there for it here. So unless you are super confident that your Winston mechanics are better than your opponent's answering mechanics, whether that be the Reinhardt, the Mirror, or the Ramatra, or whatever, like I think it's a very risky pick. And we spoke a little bit about Revenant being kind of the sub-tank here for the team.
Yes.
And I think we're starting to get a picture after a couple of maps as to where their strength lies. Because if you look at what they have played so far, it is your typical Alpha Chad main tank lineup. It's been the Rhine and the Winston. And so that might limit us here a little bit as to what we see from Team Turkey.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you do feel fairly limited to the sort of main tank, map pool, hero pool, you're sort of limited in what you can actually do. At least right now in Overwatch, there are a lot of off tanks that are very meta right now. We've been seeing a lot of D.Va recently, a lot of Wrecking Ball, so Ramatra as well. If Winston and Ryan are the only two heroes that you can play at a level that you are comfortable at for Team Turkey, that is going to make things a little bit more difficult. It means that when you have your map pick, you're going to want to try and go for, say, a King's Row, where that Reinhardt-based composition can really thrive.
And it's good that you bring up King's Row here. Our next map type is going to be a hybrid map, and it's a loser's pick format. So, for Team Turkey, this is entirely their opportunity to dictate how this next map goes and what is viable in that next map. But I do think it's worth considering that we are talking in the meta at the minute about two distinctive styles of rush, one with the Reinhardt, one with the Ramatra, I should say. And we are seeing that actually Ilisu is a very strong Ramatra player here, has not swapped off that over the opening map that we saw. And so picking a brawl map that suits your tank line isn't a guaranteed advantage here. So I'd like to see a little bit more like second layer developed thinking for Team Turkey as to where we go when we pick this next map.
Yeah, and I do think we do have confirmation that it is going, not only are we going to be going into King's Row, we do actually will be having Revenant being subbed out, Romani being subbed in. So whether Romani was late for whatever reason, or if they just wanted to give Revenant a map, we are now going to see Team Turkey coming in with the tank that I imagine we're going to be seeing getting the lion's share of reps when we get into official matches a little bit down the line. Romani is a very experienced tank player, both in the amateur tier 3 scene and in the collegiate scene, is one of the main tank players for UC Irvine, who very recently scored 5th place in the collegiate championships. So obviously is up in that upper echelon of tank player, and I think this could be a really massive boost for Turkey.
I think there's a lot to be said here about the value that the American collegiate system is having specifically for this iteration of Team Turkey, because whilst Lethal is currently playing for the London Spitfire, prior to that, they were also playing in the American collegiate scene. So a lot of reps being gained there, and you can really see some of that talent being brought back into this kind of environment.
And so when we go into King's Row, I am assuming we're going to be seeing a lot of the same kind of gameplay that we saw in the first 2 rounds of Antarctic Peninsula. It's going to be a lot of in-your-face gameplay. It's going to be a lot of Rhines and Ramatras swinging and pummeling each other, and just trying to melt down the shields and melt down the massive health pools of those tanks as much as possible. Keep a lookout for if and when some of those DPS and supports might get caught out of position, and if that does happen, how well the other members of the team can appeal for them. With Romani in, though, we are going to be seeing that Ramatra come out. At least that's what they're hovering with, about 30 seconds left to potentially change it. Notably, Turkey is running Baptiste Lucio, which is pretty standard for Brawl. Ireland, though, really wants to run Nut on the Ana. It's a little bit risky. You have a little bit less survivability, but in return, those sleeps and anti-nades can be absolutely fight-changing.
Yeah, particularly when you're looking at something like the Annihilation, the ability of an anti-nade to shut that down to enable the focus fire and stop people keeping your tank alive through that is absolutely vital. But as you say, a lot less survivability. GCB is going to have a heck of a time here to try and keep Nut alive, because that will be their primary responsibility.
So as we head in, Turkey is trying to do a little bit of ring around the rosy around the King's Row statue. Nut is actually doing a really good job positioning at the high ground, making it very difficult for anyone to get on that key healer.
For now, keep an eye on Nefi, who has a power position here on the left-hand side, catches Ireland as they rotate away from the incoming aggression from the remaining 4 Turkish players. and now they're forced to play from the point. This will force Neffy to reposition fairly quickly, and Ireland giving over a lot of space here, perhaps waiting for some cooldowns to come back and enable them to facilitate this fight a little easier. They rotate wholesale into the hotel and back out again. It's tiny Overwatch as the May walls come through here, and Romani, you can see exactly what that anti-nade does. Really forces Romani to give up a lot of space here, but in the confusion again, it's Castlereagh and Sanix that both go down for Team Ireland. No more DPS available for them, and it's either a chance to regroup here, to back away from the point and wait for your DPS to come back, or just have Romani run at you with the Annihilation and start to find the frags. Farouk down to IDCUs and even Traders Nutfalls here as well. Ireland just about hold on to the point for now. They need another couple of frags to make this turn their way. But whilst they were waiting for those frags to come through, Burke takes out GCB, Castlereagh is down, and now the best they can hope for is to flush out resource from Turkey.
Oh my goodness. A lot of ultimates used from both sides, but Turkey with the amplification matrix, doubling all the damage that goes through it, eventually is enough for Turkey to get that last tick. Ireland really held on to that for a long time, though. I'm curious to see. Sinex is kind of caught out in no man's land there. Is anyone going to find this May? If Sinex is able to get away, that would be absolutely massive. Yeah, it looks like it's safe enough to get back out, get healing. You are going to have the Annihilation from Elisu, and Castlereagh getting the headshot onto the opposing number is a huge opening.
It's a big start, maybe not a fight winner just yet, but IDCU going as deep as they possibly can might be what does it, as Castlereagh scores a second. IDCU bullies Romani back towards their own spawn, and crucially, this has allowed Team Ireland to start to hold at this opening choke into the point B straight away.
Yeah, the aggression from Ireland was massive there, but okay. Sometimes, you know, Hanzo does the Hanzo thing. You just shoot randomly into a corridor and get a headshot onto the Ana, and everything's been flipped on its head.
Okay, we are all in here for Team Ireland. IDCU's been able to find two. There's the third. IDCU does pay for this one, and Turkey have the respawn advantage here, so Ireland can slow Turkey down a little bit here, but unless we... Okay, GCB commits! It's the sound barrier! It only hits him and Castlereagh because that's all that was left, and it's not enough to keep Castlereagh alive indefinitely. It will allow Ireland to maybe get themselves into the 4v5 here, but otherwise, it will be a lot of forward progress for Turkey.
That was a lot of investment into a fight that was pretty solid and lost for Team Ireland, but I guess in retrospect, it did force the Blizzard and it did force the beat out of Turkey, so they are not looking very great on ultimates either. Romani's Annihilation is the only ultimate on either side that's really going to be of much use in this fight particularly, maybe the Amp Matrix as well.
And the Annihilation can be a fight winner, but this level teams are so good at Focus Fire that it is not guaranteed. So let's see who comes out on top of this one, because bear in mind, Nut does have the Nano boost here, and a Nano onto Alisu's Ramatra as well could really serve to shut down Romani. Here we go, out comes the ultimate, Nut's down. Did actually get the Nano off. That does hit IDCU. We've already lost two from Team Ireland here. GCB starts playing towards the backline, and it's been a weird fight here, and IDCU's been able to find at least one at the back end of the fight and slow down the push on the cart by dragging Turkey away from it, but this is almost certainly the cap and on into C for Turkey.
You would think so. I think there might be just an... Okay, with Castlereagh getting found out here, okay, now there's definitely not enough time to go for a recontest. Just go ahead and get set up for Point C, Team Ireland. You have the Annihilation from Elisu. You have the Dragon Strike from Castlereagh. You're looking pretty solid on utility, especially because Turkey really only has the Neffy Dragon Strike to work with on this one. So as long as Sinex doesn't get taken down, and got very close to doing so, Ireland should feel pretty good. 3 minutes on the clock, and the spawn advantage is in your favor from here on.
Yeah, this is where a lot of quick pushes get slowed right the way down because of the respawn advantage here. First ultimate out with the Dragon from Castlereagh here. And now comes the Annihilation, but IDCU gets focused right the way down. GCB didn't have the sound barrier in time to keep them up, and Ireland need an equalizing frag here, and they've just not been able to find it. Instead, they tried out GCB as well. It's a slow fight, and maybe they slow down the cart, but now it's dire straits for Ireland.
Yeah, you're halfway through point C. There is going to be enough time for a recontest, and especially with the Blizzard from Synex, you have the ability to get a quick pick here. But man, this is an all-out spawn camp from Team Turkey right now, just trying to hold Team Ireland into their spawn room for as long as possible. So much so that Casaria has actually swapped onto the emergency Widowmaker.
Man, that was great from Farouk, though. Gets out of the Blizzard, pops the sound barrier, keeps the team alive, and allows Neffy and Farouk to find the two that need to open this up. I think expertly played here by Turkey, shutting Ireland out in team on point C and coming out with a 2-minute time bank.
Yeah, very impressive from Team Turkey throughout. I think the leadership of Romani is clear in this one. Turkey seemed a lot more put together in that fight. They seemed to understand their win conditions and how to combo their ultimates a lot better than they did on map 1. And that just goes to show you how one player can really change the dynamic of a team. Turkey looking very strong on their attack, but now it is time for Team Ireland to try and do the same. Are we going to be seeing a bit of a switch up of the strategy here, or are we going to be seeing more of the same brawl composition? It is most likely a lot of the same, and I don't trust it. I don't trust you. You're trying to troll me, and I'm not taking it.
No,
Team Turkey does normal stuff.
Yeah, Team Turkey knows what the flavor of the month is, and it is that Romantra brawl style. I mean, Ireland, I would, taking away high ground control, the ability to dive players in the back, like Burke is relatively exploitable. Neffy, if you catch them without the leap on cooldown, could be taken down. I wouldn't mind them throwing one of these attempts at the dive at the wall and seeing what happens, but I do think in the fullness of time, we'll see them go back to a brawl.
Most likely, if they end up going with it at all. I feel like, I mean, who do you really dive in this Turkey situation? Like, maybe Lethal, force the ice block out, but you're actually going to use the Symmetra teleporter to get up on the high ground very quickly, and unfortunately that high ground, Casaria is just going to go ahead and get off of it almost immediately, so it's just going to come down to who at least is going to want to get on, and turns out Synex is not going to get on anybody.
No, I mean, it was a heck of a sleep from Nut to allow them to get out and keep Romani locked up for the moment. But Idlesu finds themselves trapped out in no man's land here, but has been able to convert that into a win. Didn't catch that they still had Nut with them, and now Farouk in a bit of trouble. The chase is on. Idlesu really wants that kill. Has to turn away and give respect to the Hanzo. Doesn't want to eat all of those storm arrows. And it was a weird start to the fight here for Team Ireland. They're not completely in control of it just yet, but they are starting to secure the camp.
They are going to get at least one tick, getting close to 2, and a nice anti-nade from Nut is going to back Turkey up for just a little bit longer. But again, the questionable survivability of Elisu is just not going to work out here, as Turkey is just going to walk in and run over the front line of Ireland.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this puts them in the position where even if Ireland do make the swap here, they are so far behind tools like the Annihilation that it's going to be at least one more lost team fight before they can really make proper inroads here. So they're going to stick with it for now. They will very shortly have the nano boost from Nut, and that could be what opens things up for Idlesu.
Yeah, well, Lethal, I think, knew that just as well as you did, Phil, and so getting around to the back, taking down the Ana is going to delay this eventual nano from Ireland. And besides, I feel like at this point, you're probably waiting to use a nano blade anyways. Like, if you have Genji for this long, it's pretty much just a matter of trying to make that nano blade play work. Never mind, it's going on to Elisu.
Okay, at least Elisu finds the pick and finds Farouk, comes out of this with the Primal Rage as well, takes a sleep, and there you go, swinging away in the back, you can see through the wire frame, and that's what did it for them. 2 ults to secure the point, I think is genuinely pretty good value with this kind of team comp. Yeah,
you feel pretty good about that if you're Ireland, especially because with only 1:45 seconds left on the clock, if you hadn't gotten it there, there's probably a very small chance of you getting it at all. But Team Turkey is probably feeling even better because you had a really solid first point defense, and you're going into the second point defense, going into this archway with 4 ultimates online, everything except for the amplification matrix, and Burke is going to build that up very quickly. The key player here, though, is Farouk, has the beat, and into the blade. You need to make sure you save it for the Dragon Blade.
Oh, sound barrier out from GCB here, I think mostly to help people survive through the pulse bomb from Lethal. Farouk commits theirs as well. Does it have it to mitigate some of the Dragon Strike here as the 1-for-1 trade comes through? I think Turkey now starts to gain the numbers advantage and have kind of chased Ireland to a strange position. They're not fighting anywhere near the payload, which, you know, for a dive comp is kind of par for the course. But this is great for Turkey because the fight has slowed right the way down and Ireland didn't really gain all that much from it.
Yeah, they do get through the archway, but it's might not be through there for very long, and GCB very nearly got away with it too if it weren't for some meddling Team Turkey players. Unfortunately, though, the Lucio going back to spawn is going to make Ireland struggle to continue pushing forward. Neffy has the Dragon Strike if they feel it's necessary.
I think Castlereagh are doing a great job of tying up resource there. Not in a position where Ireland can do much with it, but look how busy they kept Turkey. And it's time for ILSU to receive the nano once again. Now looks to try and juggle Berg. Actually puts them out of the line of fire over the wall. They can't follow up with that frag. Now knows where they are, and this has been a primal dedicated to dealing specifically with Berg. Castlereagh comes in, swipes the kill out from under them, and finally some positive progress on the payload for Ireland.
Interestingly, Neffy, after using the Dragon Strike, swaps over to the Torbjorn, and I actually like this a lot from Turkey as a bit of a tracer deterrent. So next is going to have a lot of trouble getting into the backline, taking care of Burke and Farouk. If you are constantly getting looked at and shot at by a Torb turret, that can melt you down extremely quickly.
All change here for Team
Look
Ireland,
at this.
acknowledging there is basically no worthwhile high ground here with what Turkey are running. They want to get away from the Tracer. I think this is a very clever swap.
Yep, very well done. Using the Lucio speed boost as well to make sure you take as little time getting the swaps in as possible. Coming in for a quick first fight, Burke already down.
Yeah, that's a big pick here. Turkey loses a lot of their survivability. Romani does have the ultimate and decides to pop it. Uses the armor that comes with the Annihilation to buy a little bit more certainty. But they are in a delicate position here, dancing on a knife's edge of HP. Ireland wait it out and look to regroup with Lethal playing Mosquito in the backline here, making things harder for Ireland.
And now with about 2 minutes and 45 seconds left on the clock, Ireland have an opportunity here to finish the map with about as much time, but it's going to have to be perfect, and perfect it is not. As Turkey pushes forward, is going to find all of the staggers in the world. 2 final blows from the Lucio of Team Turkey. Farouk is going to hang on to the beat as well. This is going to be a massive defensive tool for Team Turkey heading into this next one, especially because you see a lot of offense coming up from Ireland, namely the Blizzard and the Annihilation. Will they be used in conjunction with each other, or can you use one to bait out the beat and then the other?
I do think we might see the Blizzard out first. ILSU still a few seconds away from having that online. You might not even need anything. The Amplification Matrix here from Nut has already secured 1 pick. GCB commits the beat here as well. And if they can find a couple of picks on the back end of that, they're in a very strong position. And it's Romani that's down. They try and catch Farouk on the way through, but Farouk gets through, bounces around the point, and continues to stall this down. They just cannot pin Farouk down, and Burke falls to Nut here. So whilst it's a lost team fight for Turkey, they made it real slow going for Ireland.
Yeah. You've got plenty of time, imposter. You've got day 3. I'm still on the point, and they have not noticed me. No, they have noticed me. They just could not get the final blow. And because of that, Turkey's going to have plenty of time to come in for one more fight before the point is captured. And with the Molten Core down, Neffy goes down, but the job might already be done.
Oh, that's unfortunate. The Blizzard and the Molten Core, kind of as physics would expect of it, cancelled one another out, and nobody really got too much out of either of that one. But because Turkey have the defensive respawns, they just trickle back onto the point and stop the cap coming through. But this is very, very close for Team Ireland.
Now with only 1 minute left on the clock, the question now becomes, can you finish with more time from Turkey, to can you finish with time left on the clock at all? Ireland used just about every ultimate that they had in that last fight, but Lethal going down early is huge. That pulse bomb is not going to be around for a little bit.
Equalized just as quickly. In fact, it starts to checkerboard over there in the top right-hand side, and this again will favor the defense. This is fine for Turkey. They're happy to take it slowly. Neffy is unconcerned on the high ground for now, drops down to cut out the escapes. Speeds Castlereagh pop around to the right, and just instead focuses on taking ILSU out of this. We are less than 20 seconds away from the end of the map as Cynex makes a swap over onto a Hanzo of their own.
Yeah, at this point, you have to try and do something about this long-range damage of Neffy. I don't blame you if you're Synex in this scenario, and at least this Annihilation has got to be huge for Team Ireland as they come in for one more, and they cannot touch in time. Team Turkey takes map 2 Kings Row and ties up this show match 1-1.
Yeah, unfortunate stuff. I think you actually saw Synex make the swap over onto the Tracer with the aim of going to the point to get the contest going and allow them to get on in touch, but they got tied up by Lethal's back action here and couldn't get to the point in time to make that happen. Great stuff here from Team Turkey as they move over onto the Ramatra comps.
And it really shows just the value of having an Overwatch League level player on your roster. The Lethal Tracer was a constant thorn in the side of Team Ireland. No matter what they tried to do with their Brawl comp, they were always having to check behind their shoulder to make sure that the Tracer wasn't lurking. It made them a little bit slower, a little bit more hesitant, and the rest of Team Turkey, even when Lethal didn't get picks, the rest of Team Turkey were able to capitalize on it.
Yeah, I think for me, for Team Turkey, the standout player there was maybe Farouk, who between pretty solid sound barriers and between making themselves incredibly hard to hit to keep the point contested, was incredibly aggressive. Like the push back on the first attack from Team Ireland when they swapped over onto the Ramatra comp, you saw Farouk swing around the outside to catch the supports as the main body of the force came through and sandwich them between the two. I thought that was very, very clever play from Farouk.
Yeah, very impressive play, I gotta say, from both Lucios there. Did a really great job of being appeal for the more vulnerable members of their composition, booping people away when necessary. But at the end of the day, Team Turkey takes Kings Row, ties us up 1-1. Don't go anywhere, we're gonna take a short break, and when we come back, the show match between Team Ireland and Team Turkey continues.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope you're nice and rested over that short little break there. We are ready to go into the third map of today's first to three series, currently stood at 1 apiece for Ireland and Turkey. Next up on the map pool is Gibraltar dividing, which, given what we saw from Ireland in the previous round and their preference for the Winston composition, makes a certain amount of sense.
It does make a certain amount of sense. I'm actually really excited to see Gibraltar in this next map, because while the first two maps have been pretty brawl heavy most of the time, I think that Gibraltar is going to offer something completely different. We're going to be seeing a lot more slow-paced gameplay. Things are going to be a lot more setting up and executing on dives, and because of that, we kind of get to see another side of these teams where it's a little bit more cerebral rather than just kind of smashing your faces into each other and hoping that the other person dies. So,
that's how
really
I've settled
excited.
all of my disputes.
It does end up being fairly effective in most cases, but I'm really excited to see what we see out of Ireland this time around, and we actually see several swaps out of Team Ireland. Faith is going to be coming in for Synex, and Pure Irish in for Elysius. So this is kind of immediately what I see here is I see Faith locking in the Ashe and Pure Irish locking in the D.Va, and I say, okay, D.Va specialist, and maybe Faith is like a long-range DPS player for this team, because Synex was mostly playing like Maze and flex DPS kind of stuff. So if you want a double hit scan comp like Ireland is running right now, maybe this is the play.
Yeah, whereas there's not any change across the board here for Turkey, although they are now moving on to a dive comp here on the defense, and Gibraltar, maybe of any map in the map pool, is the one that most demands you play something that can control high ground here. Let's see how this works out, because Pure Irish has a lot more potential damage opportunities than Romani does, but obviously defense slightly favored here. Let's see how they work it out.
Yeah, of course, Pure Irish doing a really nice job of challenging the high ground early, and that's what you're going to have to do early and often for this squad. Notably, Neffy on this Sombra here. How easily are you going to be able to get into the back and get a hack off onto one of the, either the supports or maybe onto Faith? Because I think that Farouk in particular on this break is on the lookout.
I think this has been great from Ireland so far. They've really stymied Turkey's attempts to take and control this high ground. And Romani's down already, and that is arguably the best pick you could possibly have made. Great
Nice
sleep there, honestly. Can't quite get the focus required to take Neffy out of the fight. They come out of that with 1 HP. Faith forced to back away from the 1v1 with Burke on the high ground here. And we're seeing Lethal go toe-to-toe with Castle Raya. And for Castle Raya, this is a particularly dangerous matchup. Lethal, famous for their Tracer play. Pretty good in a position to be in for Lethal here. Slightly ahead in terms of ult charge. But for now, Team Ireland continuing to push in. Romani ensconced nicely on the point for now as Ireland make the rotation up onto the high ground. In comes the dive from Romani, who takes a heck of a lot of damage on the way through there. Just able to get out, but being heavily, heavily pressured. It's down to Farouk with the shield to try and buy the space for them to get out of this one.
Ooh. Pure Irish is nanoed up, so doing tons and tons of damage there, forcing all of Team Turkey back for the moment. But now Romani's going to get the nano treatment, jump in, try and get onto Nut, and while you do have a lot of pressure onto that Ana, lots of great peel.
Self-destruct as Castle Raya finds 2 with a pulse bomb. Self-destruct not quite enough to... Oh, wait. No, they did get the cap there. So we are on into point B, and Team Ireland don't let up the pressure. Pure Irish and Castle Raya getting a 1-2 punch there and continuing to move forward. We do have Neffy in the backline here. Wonder where this hack's going to go, or they're just trying to get out.
Yeah, it might just be a situation where you're just trying to get with the rest of the team, but it's very difficult because everyone knows that you're playing Sombra. Everyone's spy checking right now, trying to make sure that they don't let you get away. And in fact, it's actually Lethal who gets taken down thanks to a nicely placed headshot from Faith. The swap in, I was a little bit worried about these players coming in cold, but man, Faith has been impressing so far.
Yeah, Faith looks very, very comfortable on this long-range option, has the ultimate available to go, can stuff up that choke with Bob if they really want to, or can make the contest on the cart particularly difficult. Will find that committed. EMP into the back, finds both supports, GCB and Nut, but the EMP runs out and they're able to keep each other topped up arm in arm as support brethren. should be, and they find Lethal down again here. So while the card isn't making a huge amount of forward progress right now, Team Ireland are winning out this fight. Rally for rally is Farouk and GCB both pop their ults. Castle Raya lands a stick and takes Burke into the fight. Farouk down as well for Turkey. They no longer have any support. Their survivability just tanked significantly. Romani about to be demagged here, and Nefi caught out in the middle of the hack, has to TP away, and Team Ireland rollers into C.
This has been a very quick fight so far. Nefi, of course, has no choice but to just accept his fate in that one. And Turkey are on the back foot. My goodness. Especially in a map that's fairly defensive-sided because of the high grounds you can take advantage of. Getting through points A and B this quickly is incredibly impressive. Romani forced to swap onto a diva of his own now to try and match the damage potential of Pure Irish. And you do see Lethal has the blade ready. You don't really have a great defensive ultimate on the other side either. It's really, if Nut doesn't sleep Lethal here on this Nano Blade, you're in trouble.
Yeah, this is rough, and Romani finds GCB. Lethal on the hunt. Invest a lot of that blade capacity into Nut, but will find Faith as well here. So a sizable investment, but a profitable one for Turkey.
Yeah, and finally you get to get some defensive holds here. You still have a couple of high grounds to play around with on point C, though not quite as much as A and B comparatively. But you do end up using both support ultimates there for Turkey, and while Nut has the nano boost available for Ireland, could use it on Pure Irish, or maybe Faith if you're really that confident in your Ashe player.
A lot of damage already onto Ireland. They're going to wait up a second here to get themselves healed up. No major advantage in ultimates just yet, but they do have the nano, and that's onto Pure Irish.
Sleeping.
Yeah, unfortunate. We'll waste a lot of that nano boost, even with the change that reduces its duration on tanks. Self-destruct from Romani on the high ground, down to the lower ground. Catches Faith, but Romani can't get back into the mech here. And to counter that, Pure Irish taken out of the mech by Nefi, and Team Ireland have really been slowed here on this third point.
Still about 3 minutes on the clock here, though, for Team Ireland. They're still looking pretty solid on time. And as Casaria tries to get into the back and take down Burke, the peel from Turkey is there. And this ult rotation is looking really good. Even though Lethal does go down, you have the Bob from Nefi if you need it to try and stall things out. And then once that's gone, you're going to have, once again, the Dragon Blade and the Nano Boost and the Rally. You're looking really strong on this defensive positioning.
Yeah, I think now that Turkey have proper control over some high ground with the right composition of the right DPS to make it work, it's very hard to dislodge them. And between the Bob and the primary fire from Lethal, that's going to be another aborted push here for Team Ireland.
I will say, though, unlike the last Nano Blade put, well, okay. Okay, so here's the Blade. Lethal's going in, even with the Rally used and the potential for stuns, and has no fear at all. A quick 2K pushes Team Ireland back even after the Rally was committed.
Yeah, I mean, phenomenal stuff here. Incredibly confident play from Lethal on the Genji here. Castle Raya has made the swap to a Genji of their own to try and match them, but Lethal is really in a class of their own here on the Genji.
Yeah, is really doing a great job there, getting into the back and putting tons of pressure onto Nut. But there, finally, Nefi is not going to be denied here. Faith, it just goes down. It's actually going to force the bomb from Pure Irish to try and get back into this fight a lot quicker, but Nefi is just getting pick after pick right now on this Ashe. As soon as you swapped over to try and do a more direct counter to Faith, it has been very strong, and what started off as a over 4-minute timer has now gone down to just 1 for Team Ireland. They have Nano, they have Bob, they're almost up the blade,
not again!
But Nefi is on fire.
Yeah, this has been really rough, and it seems like they just can't get out of this opening choke to actually deal with Nefi. And in that time, we see 3 minutes disappear from the time bank, and they've generated ults again. They've got a Bob to slow this down if they need to. They've got a Bob to interrupt Castle Raya's ultimate. It's going to be Faith out with theirs first, would at least divert some attention from Turkey towards dealing with the Bob, but it allows Nefi to get theirs out here as well. Lethal and Castle Raya going at it with their swords, 2 apiece. Faith, Nut, Farouk, Berg, and GCB down, but it's Lethal that comes out with the better blade and the better damage here. Pure Irish finds Neffy, takes Romani out of the mech, and finally, Lethal hasn't been stopped yet, but we are into overtime, and Lethal has another blade here, finds Nut, finds Castle Raya, slices through the mech, deals with Pure Irish, and you cannot deny Lethal.
I cannot believe what we are seeing right now. Overtime now for Team Ireland. The rally is out. The ultra-wide screen cannot be denied here. You have to give Ireland the respect that they deserve when that is active. And so because of that, we are back into this fight. The point is crawling forward. That overtime wick is going down extremely quickly.
But now gaining some additional meterage here for Team Ireland. This is all positive progress for them. Turkey don't have ults to make this work. They've got to go toe-to-toe with the sudden emergence of a brawl, with damage that the D.Va cannot mitigate, with a tank that she does not want to get into the line of fire of. Pure Irish charges into the back. A hero sleep from Berg shuts them down. Castle Raya and GCB fall. Heck of a play here from Ireland, and all stalled out by a sleep from Berg.
Yeah, I think Burke genuinely saved that there for Turkey. That was absolutely a dead Neffy unless that slep came through. And then, oh my goodness. And because of that, you had a sleeping Reinhardt that wasn't able to get back to the point when the rest of Team Ireland were getting scattered up. And that is why, unfortunately, you see the overtime wick burn down incredibly quickly. So a valiant effort from Team Ireland, but for Team Turkey, the win condition is set. The match point condition is set here in this show match. What do they have available here on their attack? I do not trust this. I'm going to focus on Team Ireland here, which is going to be just about the same, right? You're going to have the Tracer Ashe composition, which worked quite well for Ireland for quite a long time. I will say, we have not seen any. I've never seen Lifeweaver played in a match yet. I've never cast Lifeweaver in a match. There, with already this composition, this like maps affinity towards high ground, the ability to make high ground of your own can still be very powerful. But yeah, that's not going to happen.
No, it is a show match. There are no limitations. We're allowing Lifeweaver if that's what you want to play, but I don't think people know exactly what the most optimal use case is for them yet, so it's going to be over to the Zen here for Farouk, and Ireland set up in this defensive position. Notice that Castle Raya and Faith have swapped duties here, with Castle Raya taking the long-range DPS role.
That is quite interesting how they've decided to do that when they are on the defense. Also notably, this Ana Zen backline for Turkey is theoretically quite fragile. It could be a field day here for Faith if you're able to get around into the back.
Oh, shield bash onto Lethal, stops him getting the high ground, will get back up and dash through. Nut momentarily slept care of Burke. Payload slowly wending its way under this overpass. They are going to have to stop and get in and contest shortly, and they have now done that. They'll hold from the top of the slope on the back of these boxes for now as Turkey reconsider.
Ooh, Calceria is so incredibly low, and Lethal is going to find the finishing blow onto the Ashe, and now without that long-range damage, it's going to give Turkey a lot more room to work.
Great rotation there from Nut, catches Lethal as they were trying to get that mega health back and keep themselves in the fight. And despite having lost Castle Raya early on in this fight, Ireland solidify here and keep a hold of the point, and a slow stagger kill onto Neffy rounds it out.
Okay, so now Team Turkey are a little bit stuck here at the end of point A, and with Ireland retaking high grounds right now, or at least trying to, Lethal is trying to do whatever he can to make sure that that does not happen. This is still a very powerful position for Team Ireland right now on these defensive holds. Going back now, and Team Turkey are going to be coming up on a Nanoblade, just 20% on Lethal away from that being available. Will the stun from GCB be able to stop the inevitable here?
Pulse Bomb goes wide here from Neffy. Tried to find GCB, but couldn't quite make the connection. Instead, GCB comes out of that with a rally ready to roll now. Has Brigitte in HD. Ultra wide. Romani gets the eat onto Faith's Pulse Bomb here, but Lethal is down, and Neffy is down, and you do not want to go toe-to-toe with GCB mid-rally.
Yeah, I mean, I think Lethal smartly, when you dashed through the whole team and you weren't quite able to get that the blade online, at that point it's like, well, I'm not going to end up getting much out of this anyways. May as well save it for next fight where they do not have a rally. And so it'll just be a dry blade this time around from Lethal. And notably, Turkey that's really all they're working with. It's that and the Transcendence from Farouk, but that's really it. Into the Diva Bomb, into the Bob, and into the Nano.
Here's the blade. Knew that the coach gun wasn't an option, dives straight for Castle Raya, but now has to spend a huge amount of time getting into position to try and do something with the rest of the blade, so only finds one here, but is happy to keep up the chase, knows that Pure Irish does not have infinite DM, and that they can find their way around it. So a dry blade, a vanilla dragon blade from Lethal just opens that point up beautifully.
You don't see that every day for sure, but still a very smart play from Lethal, holding on to it when you had the Nano, just because you knew situationally that it was not a very good situation to be in when you had the blade online and a few more seconds of Nano and a rally in your face. Ooh. That time around it's a lot better, and you get to continue pressing the advantage.
Yeah, Mad Turkey are really pushing the tempo on this fight as well. Castle Raya desperately tried to backpedal and couldn't make it happen, so now they find themselves in a massive player disadvantage, which continues to widen as Faith falls to Lethal here as well. The one advantage here for Ireland is they have been able to demech Romani. They need the chase, and they need to take Romani out of the fight entirely before they can get that mech back. But Lethal's able to dash in and find Castle Raya. Your Irish gets Lethal here, and Romani is still in the fight and can actually get a small amount of cart progress here, and very close to getting themselves back into the mech and into the fight. The chase just wasn't quite quick enough, and now they're ready to roll.
Oh my goodness, Nut again under so much pressure, but the spam from the peel from Ireland is good so far, but unfortunately Faith unable to get the kill onto Farouk, as now we are just in an all-out brawl. It is messy, it is all about the individual play, and Lethal is going to come out on top. A 2K followed by 2 from Neffy, and that is almost certainly going to be point B captured from Team Ireland. This is now, so captured from Team Turkey, as now 3 minutes and 30 seconds remain to close out Gibraltar.
And they really do not want to let this go easy. They are pushing right up towards spawn. Lethal is down to 9 HP, has to dive back under the care of Romani, but it's not enough. The DM runs out, and Castle Raya finds them. Self-destruct into the backline, finds nothing here, but Romani is back in the mech and ready to roll. Lethal rejoins them with a massive respawn advantage as Ireland look to try and take a defensive posture on the left-hand side at the top of the slope.
All right, so now as Team Turkey is starting to slowly go up the hill, all they're really working with as far as offensive utility is the Neffy Pulse Bomb, and Faith has one on the other side as well. The Tracer that gets more value out of this might just win it for their team, but Farouk as the Transcendence for Team Turkey. If you can force that out early, and you do, that's really good, and you take down Nut as well.
Yeah, super unfortunate here. Nut with the nano boost ready to go as well. And Farouk and Romani between them start to dismantle what is left of Team Ireland. Neffy, toe-to-toe with Faith. Faith at low HP. Neffy forced to recall. It's a duel for the ages down here in the low ground. It's Neffy that comes out on top as the payload approaches the golden box of victory, just shy of 3 minutes away as antis fly and stymie the progress here for Ireland and Turkey. It's a nano boost onto Castle Raya, but there's too much damage coming their way. GCB with the anchor of the shield on the point dissuades Lethal for now, and Lethal receives the nano and dashes, slices, dices, and drops the guillotine on Team Ireland on Gibraltar.
And after what looked like a fairly shaky map 1, Team Turkey has put themselves together and stand on match point in this Overwatch World Cup show match. Really solid stuff from Team Turkey in 2 very different maps, right? When it comes to Kings Row and Gibraltar, it's 2 very different comps, 2 very different styles of gameplay, and Turkey has now shown they can beat Ireland on either of those. So now as we go into push, I think it just comes down to what will Ireland feel the most comfortable on between the 3 push maps.
Right, because of course it is losers pick format still. Only 3 maps is not a huge amount of variety. We've seen recently, if you are a brawl favored team, I think Colosseo makes a certain amount of sense with the way that is setup, but honestly, each of the 3 push maps, you can run more or less what you are most comfortable on there. So I think out of all our map types, this is the one that suffers the least out
Yeah.
of the loser picks format.
Yeah, I would think so, especially because push, comparatively, Overwatch 2 has been around for a while, but comparatively to everything else in the game, push is the newest, and because of that, there is just a little bit more uncertainty around it when compared to the rest of the maps, especially because of the kind of change in play style, where when it comes to every other map in the game, it's very objective focused. You have to play around the objective as much as humanly possible. When it comes to push, though, it changes a little bit, whereas sometimes if you win the fight, you don't have to push the objective, or you don't necessarily have to win. It's more about not losing, if that makes sense, if you already have the lead.
Yeah, it sounds a little vacuous, but I know what you're driving at. You don't
I'm
have
trying my best
to complete that. No criticism on you. I know what you're getting at. You don't have to complete the map. You can win by point. If you can consistently win team fights when you have a 5-meter lead, that is enough. It's about consistency rather than a blowout performance.
Exactly, and that level of consistency is what we need to see from Team Ireland if they want to take us to a decisive map 5 here. Now, a little bit behind the 8 ball. Again, this is kind of the first time we are seeing Team Ireland in their full power, going up against another Overwatch World Cup team publicly. Their first time kind of revealing their team, so you really want to have a good first impression on the global audience that is watching. Say that, hey, it's time for the wild cards. We are a team to fear. Taking one map off of Turkey is a good way to do that, but obviously the more would be better.
Yeah, and we spoke already about the impact that, for example, the collegiate scene has had on Team Turkey. Team Turkey, as a result, is if not a more practiced roster, a roster of somewhat more practiced players in terms of what experience you can field on the field at any given time. And so for a team for a country with a relatively small population, with not a huge amount to draw from, you are looking for positives here. Like, you are maybe not expecting a blowout, you are expecting good performances from players and things to build on for the next time. And regardless of how this next map goes, we have absolutely seen that here from Team Ireland, with some phenomenal moments from map to map.
And so we do have the map pick coming in from Team Ireland. We are going to be going to Colosseo, and we are going to be seeing Synex being put back in for Faith. So that means, to me, we're probably going to be seeing a lot more of the Brawl playstyle. That's mostly what we saw out of Team Ireland. I will say, as of right now, it looks like Pure Irish might still be in for Elisu. So I don't 100% know what that means for the overall roster, but
Adisu back in. We just confirmed Adisu back in.
Okay.
So
I love when I say things and then they are immediately solved. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot. I bring up problems and then it's immediately fixed. So yeah, we're probably going to be seeing a lot more of. We saw a lot of Ramatra come out of Team Ireland. It worked out really good for them on Antarctic Peninsula. And if we want to go to a 5th control map, we're going to have to see that kind of play come out yet again from Team Ireland. Again, this show match, while it may not have any implications in the official World Cup, World Cup standings, there is a level of, okay, this is our first time publicly being seen as a team. You gotta make sure we leave a lasting impression here from both of these squads, honestly.
Yeah, because it's not like Turkey have been particularly public-facing so far. We've not seen anything from either of these teams yet. It's a first outing for both. Whilst we might be here in kind of a semi-official capacity for Team Ireland, we really like to showcase both of these teams and what they can do. And it's been a great opening for Turkey. And I think whilst the current scoreline doesn't reflect what Ireland really wanted here today, I still think it's been a pretty phenomenal start for them.
Okay. So, Team Ireland...
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Team Ireland... I can pretty safely trust, are going to run at least something very close to this. This is very much exactly what they ran on Antarctic Peninsula. Worked quite well for them. The one-shot potential of Casurie, and we are going to see Romani come out of spawn with the Junker Queen. So this is a very aggro composition, especially with the hacks from Neffy. It's almost, it's like the rushiest of rushes. You don't have any shielding from the Winston to deal with. It's really just you get a hack and then you just go in and try and do as much damage as humanly possible.
Yeah, the three on the left-hand side of the team comp there, Neffy, Lethal, and Romani need to be in absolute lockstep to make this happen. And Neffy's able to find Castle Raya. It's not quite been in lockstep, and they have traded out here as its DPS for DPS, and the staying power of Island means that they have been able to actually get some initial forward progress on the bot, and it'd be very hard to break down the pure defensive powerhouse that is ILSU here on the Ramatra. Romani caught out by the wall and pummeled into bits by the fists of Ramatra.
Yeah, I mean, this is my concern with the Turkey composition. Even though Romani is clearly doing damage, 75% of the way to the Rampage already, this composition is so frail in general that if they don't get a convincing fight win in the first couple of seconds, they probably aren't going to win.
You can see the impact that Burke is having already and how that slowed Team Island down just by hitting them with the nades to the point where they can't get much done. Oh, Amp Matrix and Blizzard out here from Island. So whilst Romani will find one towards the back end of their existence in the fight, it's going to be Team Island coming out on top here and now in a position to get some serious push.
Yeah, winning the first two fights on a push map, as we all know, is so incredibly impactful. Building an early lead for yourself, starting that snowball of momentum going. But now Turkey is going to have a full row of ultimates available here. Going to start off with the EMP and then just throw in everything, potentially from Turkey if they want to.
This is a free EMP. There's no sound barrier from GCB. I think they maybe
don't
Nanoblade,
know that Nanoblade.
The focus has gone on to GCB, but yeah, over at the front line, it's the lethal special, the shiny sword of justice. Down go 2, and Turkey back in control of the bot.
And I think that's great. You have that win condition in the Nanoblade, and you get it out, you get it done, and you still have 3 ultimates to work with for this next fight to try and really to try and really finish the job here against Team Ireland and even out that meterage.
There's the EMP, catches 3, and they take Castle Raya out of the fight here. ILSU is trying to take things back into their own hands here with the use of the Annihilation, but so far, it's Turkey that are finding the kills, and ILSU's Annihilation finds nothing. Turkey back in control of the team fight and the bot, and about to equalize in push progress.
Yeah, with about 20 or so meters to go, I'm unsure if Turkey is going to be able to take the lead before Ireland has another chance to recontest. Yeah, I know. I was about to say, Romani is pushed up so far, it's almost certain that they are going to take the lead, and that's exactly what they do. Ireland are going to come back in here with the beat and with the Deadeye, but theoretically, the damage has already been done.
And honestly, Deadeye is such a difficult ultimate to get value out of, particularly in a map with as many straightaways, as many places to get out of the line of fire of straightaways as this map does. Instead, the focus is onto Romani. GCB with the finishing blow. The tank is down. Turkey look to make a quick escape here.
Yep, and now we head back towards a center field. Turkey understands the win condition here. They have the lead. If they can keep Ireland sort of bottled up at the center of the map for as long as possible and just drain time off the clock, that would be fantastic for them. But an early Amp Matrix from Nut's going to take down Farouk.
Ooh, sleep onto ILSU, gets woken up, and now they can move forward and start to pummel out Burke and Lethal, who pops the blade here. Does find a wealth of damage with it, but the barrier is there from GCB. It wasn't there earlier, but it stymies Lethal, who has to escape from the fight. But
my God,
crucially, in the underground portion of the map, as we were watching Lethal, Romani gets a huge amount of work done, cleaved through Team Ireland, and back in control of the bot. A little bit of progress gained for Ireland, but not enough to equalize.
I mean, the cleave from Lethal during that Nanoblade was insane. It basically completely nullified the overhealth of GCP's beat, and because of that, it then opened things up for Romani to come in with some cleave of his own, has the Rampage available along with the EMP from Neffy.
Okay, Blizzard out for Cynex. Hack comes through, so they can't get into that. Sled almost down there as a world of stun and CC goes their way, but Team Ireland find the opening frags here. Lethal and Romani both out. The supports of Turkey make for the hills and look to get out here as Ireland push the bot back. Farouk down as well here. A big stagger as Burke falls as well. This is a massive opportunity for Team Ireland, particularly as they still have the Annihilation ready to throw at this next team fight. Romani and Lethal slow the bot down ever so slightly, but now Ireland are back in the lead. Expect Annihilation to come out inside the next team fight.
Oh man, and Turkey is so out of sorts right now. They really want to try and get in and contest before the forward spawns are unlocked, but there's constant staggers. I mean, they can't get back at 5, and now forward spawns are activated for Team Ireland, and they were able to get it without having to use the Annihilation, without having to use the Blizzard, about to have the Amplification Matrix up. Neffy and Romani have had these ultimates up for like 2 minutes now, and now they're finally coming out.
What a combo! 5 on the EMP, 2 on the Rampage. Crucially, though, ILSU survives and does get the ultimate out, as does Cynex. They need to use that CC to generate kills, and they have done so as Cynex takes Romani and Farouk out of the fight. And as the payload starts to round the corner, Neffy has to TP out. Big investment for Turkey, but the line goes down, my friend.
Now we are about to hit triple digits for Team Ireland. They have been on a roll for the last couple of fights. It did take a couple of ults to do it, though. The Amp Matrix are pretty much all they are working with right now, but it is going to buy them so much space. Look at how it zones Team Turkey away, and even though Lethal wants to use the Blade, it's just too dangerous.
Yeah, right now they need to wait, and by waiting there, they've allowed GCB to get their sound barrier online, so this Blade, unless it's comboed just right with the Nano and the targets are just correctly selected, it's going to be a very difficult ult to make happen. Careful fighting.
Casaria didn't get it.
Wow, actually Casaria dies there. I thought the damage reduction might have been enough to keep them alive through that one, but it's not happened. Lethal comes alive at the last few seconds of the fight and finds 2 kills, and looking for that third as GCB plays up in the skybox. Lethal does not want them to get out of this.
Somehow, I'm not sure how, but Casaria did not end up getting the beat. I thought for sure you were going to have it available to you to make sure you were healthy throughout that Deadeye, but unfortunately, because of that, you're able to finish off that Cassidy and take control of the bot. But again, damage done here for Team Ireland. What was once a pretty close game up to that point has now been just broken wide open. Almost a 70-meter lead for Team Ireland.
Rally for Farouk. 1-for-1 traders, Lethal's down, and they now have to push into the Blizzard. Turkey are still getting value through this one as we see the glowing lights of the Ramatra fight going on the underpass here. Team Ireland maybe just about come out on top as Burke and Romani both fall here. Neffy's still in the back with the EMP, but this will activate forward spawns for Team Ireland. I think ILSU maybe just missed the forward spawn there.
Oh man, potentially. I'm trying to see if I could find the outline there. Yeah.
I think they missed it. I think they missed it. They're right the way back there.
You're right. They are all the way in the back there. So there's going to be a little bit of a delay here before Team Ireland can come back as a full 6. But they're just going to keep on fighting here and keep the bot over on their side of the map for as long as humanly possible. And you focus down Romani.
Yeah, what a wall there from Cynex. Stops Romani getting back into the arms of the supports. And now they are down, and Ireland can afford to push right the way up here. They've got one player moving the bot, and Lethal makes the swap very briefly onto the Ash before they get found out. And now Ireland are on the final straightaway into the full cap. We said you don't have to complete the map, you can win by a meter, and Team Ireland took that as a challenge as Neffy falls. GCB smothers Ireland with the sound barrier and buys them the certainty to start to close out this map. It's a beautiful snow globe on the end of the point here for Team Ireland as they get the full complete on Coliseum.
That is exactly what we needed to see from Team Ireland, down 1-2 in this series. They put together a masterclass of this New Age Brawl comp with the Ramatra. They put away every curveball that Team Turkey threw at them, whether it was the Genji or the Ashe. It did not matter to them. They would fall all the same. And now, Team Turkey and Team Ireland are going to Map 5.
That's right. Exactly what we could have hoped for today, right? You want a show match, you would like to see as much from the show match as you can possibly get. So on our way to map 5, one more control map to round things out here. So it's going to take us a couple of minutes just to line up exactly who's there. But in the meantime, Dividing, I do want to touch ever so briefly on what I think might have been a compositional misplay here from Team Turkey, in that whilst they did have some limited success with the Junker Queen, they just weren't able to generate the bulk and the staying power that they really needed to go up against a Ramatra.
Yeah, I mean, Junker Queen is such an aggressive tank. She's also, comparatively to the other tanks, incredibly fragile. She has some self-heal with the bleeding, but other than that, you have much less overall health. You don't really have any armor to help mitigate some of that damage, and because of that, you get melted down extremely early. It had to be a very, very, very fast-paced composition, fast-paced play from Turkey in order to make the Junker Queen work consistently, because if you went in with the hack, you went in with all of your Junker Queen abilities, and you still didn't end up getting 1 or 2 picks that would turn the fight, you just didn't have the staying power in the mid and late stages of the fight to deal with Team Ireland. And because of that, unfortunately, Team Ireland eventually were able to take control of that Coliseum map.
And this is not to take anything away from Team Turkey, right? Because I think around the 53, 54 meter mark with that Junker Queen comp into the Ramatra comp, into a very early, very strong push from Team Ireland with the Ramatra, like, that is quite the performance on a very suboptimal composition. So glad that we can see they've got that in their wheelhouse. Who knows what the meta is going to look like by the time official Overwatch World Cup matches roll around. Good to see from Team Turkey that they can do the Junker Queen if they really need to.
Absolutely, a lot of flexibility coming out from Team Turkey overall in this series, showing that they can play a lot of different types of compositions. Their playbook is not extremely limited. And Phil, I believe we have our map 5 selection in. It is going to be Nepal, where both teams are going to lay down their lives here for this show match.
And I think this is, in a way, not to disparage Antarctic Research Center, a much more interesting map from like a compositional point of view, because each of the 3 points I think play much more differently than Antarctica does, right? Because Antarctica is a map where you can just run Brawl if you really want to. You can just run Brawl the entire time here. But
all 3 maps.
All 3. The nature of Nepal is significantly different, and we might see a little bit more of this particular final map come down to who makes the correct read in spawn and which of the 3 submaps we see in what order.
I will say Village is a place where we could definitely be seeing that same sort of brawl. The point itself is very locked in, and it is in fact very conveniently sized doors so that the Maywall can completely block it off if necessary. So I wouldn't be shocked to see it there, but you're absolutely right in that Shrine and Sanctum are both a lot more open. They don't have a lot, they don't really lend themselves very well to those close range kind of compositions, so you end up with a lot of long range poke or dive. And I do feel like this is a pretty solid pick from Team Turkey, because if Gibraltar was anything to go by, they do seem a little bit more comfortable on that dive, at least as of right now. I am putting a lot of stock into one map, but that's just the conclusion that I came to based on the information I have.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do with one match and 4 maps to go off of, so we'll not judge you too harshly if that turns out to not be the case. The other angle that we need to consider for this, really, is that Romani has shown a degree of flexibility that Team Ireland seem to be relying upon switching tanks to achieve. Like, yes, we have also seen a sub-tank come in for Turkey, mostly to play like the Overwatch 1 term main tank roles, but for Team Ireland, you can't swap duty in between maps. Like, you know, if you have a map that relies on a dive tank at one point and a brawl tank at the other, you can't suddenly swap in ILSU for pure Irish or vice versa. So it's a lot to put on the Team Ireland coaching staff as to who is in here for this map, as to how this goes for them.
Yeah, and especially when it comes to Nepal, which, as we mentioned before, is a map where being flexible is very, very good for you. Having a tank in that can only play a couple of different tanks and can only be consistent on those couple of different tanks can be extremely limiting. And if we are going to be seeing Elisu, which, frankly, I would imagine is what we're going to see. I think if we had a swap, we probably would have seen it by now. All we've really seen from Elisu so far is the Ramatra.
Yeah.
I don't think we've really seen any other tanks come out from that Team Ireland tank, and I think they're really trying to hammer down that Ramatra composition. They think it's going to be really good during World Cup qualifiers, and that's awesome. I think we're going to have to see, at some point over Nepal, Elisu go something a little bit different, go with something that's maybe a little more off-tank wise, whether that's the Diva, whether that's the Wrecking Ball, something that can really lend itself well towards a dive.
I think if you look sort of historically as to what we can kind of expect from ILSU, the Wrecking Ball absolutely is in their hero pool. A bit of Winston, a bit of Orisa if Liquipedia is anything to go by. So the fact that we've only really seen them on the Ramatra so far, I don't think is a fair indication of their range. They've been competing long enough. Looking very briefly at the Liquipedia page, they've been competing since 2020 when they first showed up on Hostile Takeover. So you cannot get away with playing one tank for that much time. So hopefully we'll see a bit of variation here. But as we do finally load into our final map for today, we'll be starting, and it looks like it's going to be that Ramatra Brawl comp on both sides.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised as we're heading into Sanctum where it's fairly open, and I think the ability to cross the map and cut off the point on the other team is very valuable. But hey, if both teams are saying this Ramatra Brawl comp is the way to go, then it is the way to go. Interestingly, on the side of Team Turkey, Neffy is going to swap over to get that Symmetra teleport up and then swap back to the Hanzo, which doesn't have a really great ability to rejoin the team in a quick spot. So for right now, at least, Ireland has a 5v4.
That's a great early wall here from Cynex as Romani goes into the Nemesis form to start punching through and find some opening frag. And I believe that's ILSU over the edge here from Farouk. And boy, Turkey just came out on top, even without Neffy in the fight at the start here. Very clean, very quick.
Yeah, very nicely done. Just winning that overall brawl to start off the fight. And yeah, the boop from Farouk was massive. Already 50% of the way to the beat, I think tells me, yep, that was in fact an environmental kill. And Lethal getting the headshot, and the Calceria is going to make things very difficult for Team Ireland to get. They're trying to get into this anyways without their Hanzo. That's most of their damage. I can't imagine this is going to work out very well for Ireland.
Well, they know that they're one pick away from an equalize, and they think, well, in for a penny, in for a pound, let's see what we can get done here. But Lethal already has the Blizzard, Romani already has the Annihilation, and they just absolutely knock Ireland for 6.
Wow. That is a little bit of a flex. I don't think you needed both the Blizzard and the Annihilation from Turkey, but I think it was a little bit of a, hey, we got these ults before you did. So, there. There. And we throw it in your face. And Team Turkey has definitely laid down their claim to Sanctum to start off 50% and counting, but now Synex is going to have the Blizzard to respond.
I think great positioning there with the Blizzard, but that might only have caught Lethal, who pops into the ice block and might, in fact, does weather the entirety of that storm, but as they emerge from the ice block, Castlerea knocks them out of the fight, and Farouk is down as well here. So for Turkey, there's really not that much more you can do here. Neffy's good, but they're not 1v5 good. Has already found the 1v1. Neffy actually gets to the Mega Health back in time here. Can't win that 1v1 against Cynex, and actually ends up staggering themselves.
Yeah, that stagger is going to be fairly brutal there for Team Turkey. I mean, they're going to have to wait another 5 or so seconds before they can come back in as a full 5. When they do, though, Farouk is slightly beating GCB when it comes to that beat charge, so that's a great defensive tool to be used for that Annihilation incoming from Elisu.
Oh, dangerous place to be when GCB has the boop off cooldown, but it's ILSU that gets in on the action first and foremost. Burke down to the Annihilation, Lethal out as well. A couple of trades here for Turkey as Neffy and Farouk find a couple, and they do actually have players over on the point securing the cap here. ILSU is able to just get back in time, but it does at least force some space. Turkey ultimately get nothing out of that push though.
Yeah, Team Ireland now at 40% and counting, about to equalize on Team Turkey's percentage progress up to this point. But unfortunately, Team Turkey really don't have many ultimates at the moment. You're about to come up on the Blizzard, but Lethal still needs to hit a couple more Icicles for that to happen. Even when you do, GCB has the beat.
It's a great Ravenous Vortex there from Ilisu, but Dragon comes out from Castle Raya across the other side of the point and then finds Neffy. They're not even going to need the Blizzard here. They're already secured the player advantage. This is just backup. Should they need it, they're going to throw it in anyway. Romani finds Nut here from Lethal. Apologies, it's going to be Turkey throwing in the Blizzard. Ireland not quite ready to throw theirs in yet, so they have secured a lead in terms of capture percentage, but they're going to give this over to Team Turkey.
80% and counting, so this is last fight territory, but once again, Lethal uses the Blizzard in one fight, and okay, the headshot on the Castleria is actually pretty big. That's a massive stagger. It's going to make this one fight territory for both teams, and look at this! The Annihilation from Romani, who wants to go in and really end this.
Okay, the Blizzard out from Sanix doesn't ultimately come to too much, but Romani gets split off by the wall and by the slow. Ilisu comes in with their own Annihilation, but now neither side has a tank. It's time for the DPS and the supports to go all in on this fight as Lethal and Neffy get opening frags. Down goes Sanix. It's 94% of the beat is on board from Farouk. And now it's all Ireland can do to keep this contested. Down goes Castle Raya. Overtime's about to tick down. We do find Ilisu back in on the Wrecking Ball. Pops the Adaptive Shield, lands the Pile Driver, keeps things contested, but needs to tag off the point just to build some momentum and come back in. Looking for the bash out, can't quite find the displacement they were hoping for. Lethal maintains themselves on the point and back up. No! A huge boot from Farouk knocks Ilisu down into the depths. And this is match point now for Team Turkey. They need this next sub-map to win the series.
A back and forth submap though. Team Ireland are not out of this one just yet. It was 100% to 83%, and as we go on to Village, we're most likely going to be seeing more of the same from most of these teams. I would imagine, at least, when we're in this kind of situation, where Brawl is generally favored. You could go a long-range poke if you wanted to, but I would be interested to see if Ilisu's gonna stay on this Reinhardt. It generally has been, when we've seen these two tanks in on Brawl, it has been Ramatra versus Ramatra. The Rein is a very interesting change here, meant to, I assume, just kind of block off the walkways here for Team Turkey when they're trying to get onto the point.
I think this is very interesting. Castle Raya is actually both teams sticking with the Symmetra, but it's Ireland come out with the later TP, which allows them to just about get onto the point. Maywall splits the team. Castle Raya rather able to find Neffy first off, and I think Ilisu with this Ryan pick really has caught them for a loop. They know they can't close the distance because of just how consistent and painful that Reinhardt damage is, but Ilisu is taking a beating. They have to burn the Immortality Field just to keep Ilisu up and in the fight. Back and more or less healthy for now means that Ireland can keep swinging. They have control of the point, and now they can slow things down a little bit and wait for Turkey to come to them to receive the bruising.
You can definitely tell this Reinhardt pick is really changing things up for Team Ireland. Having that consistent shielding from Ilisu really helps the DPS take space and get into better positions.
I think very much there from Ilisu, popped out momentarily to try and deal some damage, and then back into the full line of support for the supports. Ilisu finds a squish onto Neffy, but overextends, and Lethal takes them out of the fight. Ireland at 30% start to invest ultimates into this, and the wall, it's great, it's super useful, but hey, guess what? It doesn't block those Ramatra pummels. Castle Raya down. 40% for Ireland, and they continue to stall this out and get as much as they can on the top.
Yeah, they might be able to get it up to close to 50% before it finally flips over, and that's exactly what happens here. Team Turkey, they are going to start getting some percentage points of their own, but both teams have the Blizzard available in this next fight. The team that gets more value out of this will most likely get the win, and I see that one team has a beat and the other doesn't. That could be the big difference maker here in favor of Team Turkey.
Oh, Sanix goes in to try and deal with it, takes a lot of damage, then has to burn the ice block, but manages to get the second Blizzard out here, and that is absolutely crucial because it stops Romani in their tracks, and they're forced out of the fight here at gunpoint. Lethal finds Nut, but we have the Shatter available for Ilisu, and now the numbers advantage for Team Ireland, who secure the flip as well, and do that by holding on to the Reinhardt ultimate as well. A last second kill onto Burke slows things down, and Ireland are back in control.
50% and counting now for Team Ireland, who do not have to use the Shatter from Elisu, which is absolutely massive because Turkey used most of their defensive utility in that last fight. Farouk no longer has the beat available, so if you're able to get this Shatter past the shield of Romani, the shield of which is much less consistent than a Reinhardt shield, you could get a massive fight-winning Shatter here, but you do have to play around the Photon barrier from Nefi.
Oh, what a wall from Lethal. Romani got shattered, and just the protection there from Lethal stops any kind of follow-up. So Ilisu is now forced just to try and make something happen here with their own swing of the hammer. And down go Burke and Nefi. Team Ireland maintain the numbers advantage. They hold on to GCB's sand barrier. GCB falls incredibly lowly, but is down. Back in the fight here as we hit the 95% mark. Lose Syntax here, but Romani dies in the middle of their ultimate.
Oh my
gosh. Someone needs to rescue Ilisu. Ilisu finds Farouk here. It's 99-39, and the final kill comes through for Ireland. And we get one more sub-map dividing. We're going the full distance.
Nut is absolutely the MVP in that last fight there. Just barely with those healing grenades manages to keep Elisu alive. And because of that, the Reinhardt is able to charge back into the point and deal with the remaining members of Turkey in that final sub-map. So we head over onto Shrine, where finally, for sure this time, this series will end one way or another. And by the way, I do just want to give a quick shout out. What an awesome show both these teams are putting on for their first public appearance. This is, if you're watching in chat right now, give some hearts to these teams because they're really putting it all on the table here.
Yeah, a real honor to be here to cover these opening exchanges between these two teams. And another new look here for Team Ireland. Ilisu on the Wrecking Ball, Castle Raya on the Sombra. A classic Wrecking Ball dive composition going into Turkey's Brawl. Let's see how they adapt into this one, because they are probably not expecting this. Cynex on the Tracer, straight into the back and dealing a world of hurt into Burke. Forces them to burn the Immortality Field. Nefi and Romani find the opening frag stone, and crucially, Nut is taken out of the fight here. A big amount of utility and healing off the table entirely. But Ireland, not entirely out of this just yet. They do take Burke out. Ilisu forced to go and retrieve the mega health back here, but it's Turkey with the opening camp.
It's notable that this look from Ireland is completely new. We haven't seen them play this all show match long, so this is a new potential play in the playbook if they can make it look. And Elisu's Wrecking Ball is looking pretty lethal right now. It's looking pretty, pun not intended, is doing a lot of damage with those pile drives.
That's right, but it's an incredibly scrappy fight here in Ireland, despite the occasional frag here and a measure of success across the board. Just can't seem to get the win they need here as we approach 30% cap for Team Turkey. We need a quick, decisive team fight for Ireland if they want to hold on to the point.
Yeah, and especially because they have a Kiriko instead of a Baptiste, this composition is a lot more fragile overall, a lot less health pools, and because of that, if you don't get picks early, you're probably not going to get them at all. Ireland is slowly actually going to get a flip here as you force Turkey off of the point, but the man advantage is still towards Team Turkey. They should be flipped back fairly quick.
Yeah, I mean, 8% is nice, and it could be the difference maker a little ways down the line. And they're continuing to hold on to this one, and they're forcing Turkey to spend into it. So for a team fight that you didn't win, I think that's pretty good value for them.
Yeah, you actually end up using the Kitsune Rush there, and that's actually a pretty solid ultimate from Burke that you don't have anymore. All you really have here is the beat from Farouk. You're almost up to the Annihilation from Romani, but GCB, Nut, Kalsaria, and Synex almost up to their ultimates for the side of Ireland.
Yeah, Ireland need to be a little bit quicker generating these because these are what's going to flip the point for them. Castle Raya with the primary fire and the hack onto Burke takes them out of this fight. But Romani is so close to having the Annihilation, but having lost two players here, I don't know if they want to commit that particular ult into this one. Lethal down as well here, I think, for Romani.
You're going for it.
Romani's going for it. Has the sound barrier. Farouk keeps them up, but the hack comes through as well. Strips that over health off them. But Turkey are not out of this just yet, and even if they lose this team fight, they're almost at 90%. Castle Raya takes Farouk and Burke out of the fight here, down from Ilisu. So Ireland just about scraping through the number of players they need to finally win the team fight and start mounting some fracture progress.
Still, you have to feel really good if you're a Team Turkey fan. You lose that one, but you're at 92%. One more fight win should do it, and you should have plenty of fights to be able to build up a big ult bank to do just that. Ireland, for their money, though, they have the zoning from the mines, which comes out. They're going to get taken out by the Blizzard pretty quickly, though. Blizzard is pretty much used as a zoning ultimate, though. It doesn't actually get anything, and that was the one tool the Turkey had.
Just Irish just started going, I'm just going to wait for the mines to do something and do something. They did. Lethal and Romani both out of this one, and we're looking at around 50% here for Team Ireland, and they are going deep into the backline to try and keep this fight going and generate even more time before Turkey can come back and take another crack at the point.
Romani on the Desperation Roadhog right now. I mentioned before how he is known for this character in the collegiate circuit. So one hook could be all Team Turkey needs to turn this fight into their favor. At the very least, disrupts Elisu here. Oh man, neither team really has many. Okay, I'm kidding. Team Turkey actually has several ultimates coming up in just a moment. They have the EMP already. They're about to come up on the Kitsune Rush, and Team Ireland are looking strapped for ult banks right now. This is 82% to 92%. Last fight territory. Winner wins the show match.
EMP's big hits fall. They haven't found any kills on them just yet. In fact, nothing out of that one. And ult charge given over to the supports to generate a bit more value here. Classic hook from Romani. Sinix down here as well. So the 4v5 in favor of Team Turkey. 99% for Team Ireland as Castle Reyes EMP connects. One for one as the minefield locks up the point here. DCB throws in the sound barrier as well. And this is an all-out, knockdown, dragged out kind of a fight dividing, but it's lethal at the last few seconds that starts to generate kills here for Team Turkey. Farouk, with the certainty of the sound barrier, allows Turkey to stand solid on the point and generate that flip. It's 95 to 99. Can Ireland get anything done here? The hack comes through onto Elisu. They need to tag back on because we are in the very depth of the team fight at 99 to 99. Sinex has the pulse bomb, needs to come up absolutely massive with that one, but the whole hog deals with two. Romani laughs in the face of the pulse bomb. Turkey, in the final seconds of the fight, get the flip, win the fight, and close out the series 3-2.
The whole hog doing exactly what it needed to do there. Trapping Elisu into a corner, taking out that pesky Wrecking Ball from continuing to stall out the fight, and without the Wrecking Ball around, there was simply nothing that Team Ireland could do to keep the overtime wick burning. Team Turkey are going to take the victory in this Overwatch World Cup show match, quite literally as close as it possibly could be. Both teams put on an incredible performance.
Yeah, really only barely space to slide a piece of paper between these two teams in terms of performance. And for their first outing, fairly early into the teams being established, like not a huge amount of scrim time under their belt. Like this was a great showing, and just think we have nowhere left to go but up for both of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, just think about these teams. Other than, particularly on Team Ireland and Team Turkey, both these teams are very young. For Team Ireland, it has been a 4-year break since the last time they had an Overwatch World Cup team. Last time Team Turkey had an Overwatch World Cup team, I believe, was all the way back in 2017. So It's been 6 years for these guys. Both teams are very young. They're extremely hungry to prove themselves on a global stage. And I think any other teams that might be going back and watching this VOD might be thinking, man, these guys can be a real threat.
That's right, a lot of threats on a lot of different axes here from both of these two teams, but dividing that does bring us rather neatly to the end of today's broadcast. So all that's left to do here is to give thanks to BPL, who were kind enough to do all the production and the running of the show here for us today. So thank you, BPL. Your contribution always appreciated. If you want to keep following Team Ireland's journey through the Overwatch World Cup, that's at Team Ireland OW on Twitter, and you can join the Discord at discord.gg/Ireland to become part of the community. But from myself and from Dividing, that's it for today, and we look forward to seeing more from both Team Turkey and Team Ireland in the not too distant future.